Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Ken can take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars in the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Question in the voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Ken in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. We live and loud, that break in the mud. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploded like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, they're a force can fight. From sports to politics,
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Hey, good morning, and hey, good morning, Fred. Uh-oh. That's why he's not here today. It's true. I think Joseph can attest that. Packer Ken is really a Bears fan. That's why he's not here today. Good morning, Joe. How you doing?
What's up, man?
Oh, another morning. I can't believe it's already Thursday. These days just fly by.
Yeah.
It's football night.
I don't know. I don't know if Packer Ken. I don't know if he's secretly a Bear fan. I think he, I mean, man, that'd be hilarious.
He's a closet Bears fan. Yeah.
It's like that's what I was going to say something, but it wasn't very politically correct. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and not tank the show for you.
Wait a minute, Joe. When have we ever been politically correct around here?
Yeah,
Like for instance, we got the Vikings and the Chargers and the Vikings. Like we're very politically correct. We call the Giants the Ginas, the Eagles the Sheagles. I mean, come on now. We still say hail to the Redskins and not hail to the Commanders. Oh, here we go. He said it yesterday on JB's show, and Dorn is a closet Lions fan. What? Packers can keep Dorn. Fred doesn't want Dorn in the fan base. Oh, Dorn, those are some fighting words being thrown down by Fred this morning. And, of course, I want to welcome everyone on Rumble today as day 2 on the Rumble experiment goes. Oh, yeah, we've never been politically correct. There you go. If I could talk this morning, let me get some coffee so I can use words.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that Chargers game, it has the potential to possibly be interesting, like if Carson Wentz can play a good game, but I don't know, man. And aren't the Chargers supposed to be getting Joe Alt back this week?
I was just about to say Joe Alt's supposed to be back tonight, which will significantly help that offensive line.
Yeah.
Even though, because this game has the potential of being just a hot mess. Because, let's face it, the Chargers have not been the Chargers we thought they should be the last couple games because of these injuries.
Yeah.
The Vikings are not the Vikings we kind of thought they would be because of their injuries and their quarterback issue. And good morning, Cam. I hope everything's going well out there in the desert of the Valley of the Sun for you. I mean, neither
definitely
team
two teams that have underwhelmed in the last couple of weeks, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Vikings lose again tonight. They're starting to fall down the rabbit hole a little bit.
What's their record right now?
The Vikings, as of right now, are 3-3, so they're okay. They're 500.
Yeah.
But look at, they're already a game behind second place, a game and a half behind first. Now they fall. If they lose tonight, they fall 2 games behind first. Yeah, a full 2 games behind first and a game and a half behind second/third. And we'll say the Bears win this weekend. Let's say the rest of the division wins. Now they're 2 games out and 2.5.
Yeah.
I heard that Joe is really a Jets fan. I don't know where that came from.
No, actually, but I have respect for Jets fans because, though the Raiders haven't had quite the level of misery that they have, like, like there's a sort of bond that gets formed. It's the same with Browns fans, like when your team just continually disappoints you year after year after year, like, Bears fans. I wasn't gonna say it, but then it's like, you know what, Bears fans, because but see, the Bears are kind of like the Raiders. Like they have one good year every couple of decades, and it's like it takes you like it's sort of like gives you the strength to keep going. You know what I mean? Like the Bears had that Super Bowl run in '06, and then they had a year about 6 years ago, I want to say, with Mitch Trubisky, right? Like the Raiders had the playoff year with Rich Bisaccia, where they got robbed against the Bengals. Like there's that one year that like gives you fresh hope. The Jets they've had their share of those years too. I mean, they went to the AFC title game twice with Mark Sanchez and Rex Ryan. Like, so I just respect their fan base.
Yep. And of course, if you're on X, and I know we got a few of you watching on X, and I appreciate you watching on X, but if you want to comment and get on the show, I know that X, sometimes the comments don't come through on X. Here's the Rumble link I just threw up on the screen. Come over and find us on Rumble. Comment, be a part of the show, like Fred and Brian and Cam and Luca and the guys when Luca's here. I wonder where Luca is this morning. Come drop us a comment. Let us know what you think. And there is a kind of kinship amongst fan bases when you get, man, we've both been suffering for such a long time. That happens. Look at the Cubs and the Red Sox.
Yeah.
There's a very symbiotic relationship these fan bases have. Raiders and Bears fans have always had a symbiotic relationship. Or at least for us older fans they have. For the younger fans, maybe not so much. Oh yeah, hey, you can't. He said Fred says you have to include the Lions fans.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The Lions. The thing with the Lions is that they had a run where it was like they didn't win a playoff game they had playoff runs though. So yeah, the Lions are in that
30
group.
years. No, it's 30 years between playoff wins, man.
Yeah. Well, but the Raiders are getting our last play 2003, so we're at 22 right now. So, I mean, yeah, I can't really talk too much. So
I think ours is probably not that far. It's like at least 07, 08. Let me see. It's funny because we don't often think about the last playoff win. We think of the last playoff appearance, right? Let me see. The last playoff win for the Bears. Let's see if this has it. Hell, this is weird. Won the divisional playoffs in 2010. So we have a playoff win there. It might be 2010. In 2018, we lost in the wild card round. And in 2020, lost to the Saints. That was that one where Mitch Trubisky had a bomb that I can't remember who dropped it, and then the game went completely south after that. But we've been like the last 3 years, fourth, and fourth. The last 3 years, we've won 15 games during the Matt Eberflus experience. Nagy had decent success. Nagy's, what's funny? Nagy's worst record for the Bears was 8-8.
Yeah, 500 isn't. I mean, it's not where you want to be, but it's a lot better than 4-12.
Yeah, he went 12-4, 8-8, and 8-8. So I mean, he's actually got a winning record as a coach.
Yeah,
he's on the plus side by 8 games. John Fox was 6-10, 3-13, 5-11. Trestman was 5-11, 5-8. And of course, Lovey had a long run. That's crazy. When you just start, those are things we don't necessarily think about. Like we think about, no, the last playoff appearance was, no, not 21, it was 18. We won the division. Yinzer. That was our last playoff appearance, was 2018 when we won oh no, I'm sorry, it was 2020. 2020, yeah. We lost in the wild to the Saints. I just said that. 18 was the last time we won the division. There we go. So yeah, we don't think about those. We just think in terms maybe of playoff appearances, but like look at the Steelers, dude. Like here's a team that gets to the playoffs every year and doesn't win. You look at the Packers, they get to the playoffs, but they haven't won the show since 2010. You look, and then you get some teams, it seems like they go every year and win at least one playoff game.
See, that's a travesty too. The fact that like the Packers went to the NFC Championship that many times and came away with one ring, like that. I mean, and I'm not shitting on the Packers. Like it's hard to win Super Bowls. If it was easy, every team would have one, but they don't. Like but it's a travesty, dude. Like that they went that many times and
they
couldn't get it.
They should have been dynastic. They just didn't want to make the moves that would have made them dynastic.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers had the talent to have 4 rings, Yep.
So did Favre. And to be honest, so did Cutler. The Bears didn't put enough around him they finally put enough around him offensively 1 year, and then they had no defense. I mean, Cutler is the same kind of guy. Cutler's a guy who could have won multiple rings given a talented team around, put talents around him. I mean, it's amazing that he had the Bears as competitive as they were with the lack of talent he usually had on offense. And then when he finally had an offense, he had no defense.
I like Cutler. I just don't know if I would put him in the same category as Aaron Rodgers. Like, because Cutler threw picks at the worst times, man.
So did Favre.
And so did Favre. But I don't put Favre and Rodgers in the same category. Like Favre is an all-time great, but when it comes to just pure talent, like Favre was not as talented as Aaron Rodgers in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
I mean, they're different type of players, right? Like Favre and Cutler are both they were both gunslingers. And the problem you see with Cutler's interceptions was, of course, for the lack of the good team. Same thing for Favre. Like Favre and Cutler won a lot of games that their teams should have lost. They won because of Favre. They won because of Cutler gunslinging, taking chances they should never have been taking, and actually, capitalizing on them. Because, like, Cutler is a better example, I think, because Bears fans really get pissy about, oh my God, Cutler and interceptions. Like, well, dude, you're down 2 scores in the fourth quarter. Yeah, you have to throw the ball. There's no more running the ball. You have to throw. Everyone knows you're going to throw, and when it's 3rd and 19 because you've had 2 stupid penalties for false starts or something, yeah, you are going to take higher risks. And Cutler did, and Favre did, and they both. Good morning, Snoop. They both, gave up interceptions because of it. And actually, you can even say the same thing for Tony Romo.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing with Romo.
Yep.
So you look at these guys like that, if they would have put sufficient talent around them and spent the money in the right places or drafted the right people instead of some of the bonehead decisions these staffs have made, the Packers could have 3 or 4 rings. Cutler's the kind of quarterback, he could have had a couple rings. Favre could have had a couple rings. Heck, even Romo could have definitely. He's smart enough, and he's super smart as a quarterback. He could have had rings.
And his stats. I mean, look at Romo's stats. Like, doesn't he have like pretty much Hall of Fame worthy stats?
Dude, so real quick before I go answer that, hey, everyone go check out Snoop Van Poop on X. He just posted a show Tuesday that we did. It's an hour and a half. Good conversation we had. Go check it out. It's posted on his page and my page. Check it out. Good show. Yes, if you look at the numbers there, so after Aikman, pulled all his BS on calling the Bears, like the Swift touchdown. The Bears just got lucky. Bears X went crazy, and they started posting like stats of like, here's Aikman's stats, here's Cutler, Here's Romo. Here's Vinny Testaverde. Here's like any quarterback you could think of. And like they almost every single one of them to a fault had much better numbers than Troy Aikman.
I would be willing to bet that Trent Dilfer is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of Aikman.
Yeah, I mean, but if you want to raise the bar, and let's go to another guy who never won a Super Bowl. He got to a Super Bowl but never won one, right? And that's Dan Marino.
Yeah.
Dan Marino's numbers, Tony Romo's numbers, Jay Cutler's numbers. Cutler and Romo have better numbers.
Mm-hmm.
They never went to a Super Bowl. Cutler at least went to an NFC championship. Romo won only one playoff game. Cutler won two. So that might be the knock. But they're not.
They also didn't have Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith and the greatest offensive line ever assembled.
Stafford too. Yeah, you can't leave. But Stafford's going to be a Hall of Famer. We know this.
Stafford's going in for sure.
He's written in. But here you got a guy like Romo. You've got a guy like Cutler. Guys who have better numbers than people who are in. They don't have a ring, and they'll probably never get in. Phillip Rivers is probably in that list. Might be in that list too. And Phillip Rivers had so much talent, and they had when their offense was rolling, they never had a defense.
No, I think Rivers gets in for sure because even though he didn't win a Super Bowl, one of the things that the writers look for is, were you a top 5 player at your position for a period of longer, 5 years or longer? And Rivers was definitely a top 5 quarterback for more than a 5-year stretch. So I think he gets in based on that in the numbers.
So it's going to be interesting with some. It's always interesting when you talk about these quarterbacks. But going back to Green Bay, Brian thinks Stafford's going to get a ring this year. Okay, bold take there, Brian. Bold take. You might be right. We'll see. But you go back to the Packers, and with the talent they had with Favre, with Rodgers, and the fact that they've only got 2 rings between the two of them in over 30 years, and now with the next coming of Jordan Love being the third guy, and the third guy has never been the guy, because look at the Niners. Who was the third guy for them? Jeff Garcia never won a ring. And it doesn't look like Love's going to win a ring. I know John Dorn doesn't want to hear that, but I mean, realistically, like right now, would I put the Packers as a Super Bowl winning team? No, I'd put the Lions as one before I put the Packers right now, because the Packers just don't have enough of everything. They're a solid football team, don't get me wrong, but they don't have the talent than some of these other teams do overall. Adding Micah Parsons was huge. But remember, this is a team that we were saying, look, if you look at the NFC North, they're probably the least talented team in the North, right? Dorn, you don't have a QB. What are you talking about? Go get yourself one. Because Love is not the QB. You're the QB yet. He's not the QB you think he is, or you'd be winning a lot more games. You wouldn't have tied the freaking Dallas Cowboys this year. You wouldn't have lost to the Cleveland Browns if you had a QB.
I mean, it's still early in the season, and I like what I will say about the Packers, though, or specifically about Jordan Love, is that last year in last offseason, we made a whole big conversation about, we needed to see Jordan Love wasn't earning his contract, and we needed to see him make that step. And so far this season, I think he is making that step. Like he's starting to earn that contract, in my opinion. But and as far as the Packers being a Super Bowl contender, it's early in the season, man. You know what I mean?
This is the best season so far. He's thrown for 1,438 yards.
He's got like a 70% completion percentage.
Oh, yeah. I got it right here.
Sorry, go ahead.
Here's just so you have context. In 23, he had 64.2%. Last year he was 63.1, 69.3 right now. His touchdown interception, 10 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So he's doing really well there. But this is his best QBR by far. He had a 103, a 105, and this year's at a 116.7. So a lot better. They just don't have the talent around him to make that even pop more. Dude, I'm not jealous of you guys going to the playoffs and never winning. It's the same. What's the difference? All right, Joe, here's a question. What's the difference of the Packers going to the playoffs every year and losing, the Bears not going to the playoffs?
I mean, I guess the Packers get to say they were there.
Yeah, none of us have a ring from it. So
yeah, they get to say they were there, but if you didn't win, then it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. But to Packer fans, it means everything. And fine, let them have their moment. They can be they were the best of a really bad division for a long time. That doesn't change the fact they could have been so much. Well, I'm not going to get.
That's a controversial take right there, Brian.
I'm not going to get into that argument today.
I wouldn't say he's far from a franchise quarterback. I think he's stepping into that role this year. There's definitely more to be done. Like it's not just about doing it 1 year. It's like, okay, you step into that role this year, but now you got to continue to maintain that role. Like, can he do that? That's the interesting thing. But the Packers are an interesting team to me. Like, I agree with you in the sense that they don't have on paper, when you look at their wide receiver core, for example,
right.
it's not what you would expect from a Super Bowl caliber team, right?
And neither is their defense overall.
But they have a really good running back. They have a really good defense. Like their secondary is questionable, but they have good linebacker. Their front seven is pretty formidable.
Front seven's tight. Yep.
Yeah, and they have a good defensive coordinator. LaFleur is a better than average play caller. Like I think towards the end of the season, if the Packers go on a run, like there's no reason that they can't be in the mix, you know, especially like the landscape. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and Dorn, you proved my point. Thank you so much. The Packers have been the best of a bad division for so long that they're used to this mediocrity of just making it to the playoffs. And I've said this before, right? Look, okay, and Brian, I mean, look, we're not talking about today's. We were talking about how the Packers should have been dynastic and how certain quarterbacks could have, should have probably won a lot, but their teams just never put the people around them they should have because of bad decision making, whatever. But now, if you want to fast forward to more recent history, thank you, Dorn. You proved my point. The Packers have been winning a division where teams in the division were winning 15 games in 3 years. Oh, yeah, you're really a phenomenal football team. And here they get a great player, but now, we're automatically Super Bowl favorites. No, you're not. No, you're not. Go home.
I wouldn't call them Super Bowl favorites.
I haven't played that. I play this for the Lions, but I'm playing this for the Packers today. So never mind the Lions logo on the back.
No, you're not. Yeah, no, you're not. No, you're not. Stop.
Mm-hmm. You're learning so many important things, and I'm so proud of you.
Oh, man.
Except the Packers aren't learning those things because here's Dorn saying the same old crap he says every year. Good morning, Paul. That's not what he says, Paul, but you know how the Packers are awesome, blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. Who's in first place in NFC by a half game because you tied the freaking – because Micah Parsons actually made a good play. There's one good play of that game that saved you the game from you losing to Dallas because Dak was going to score a touchdown had Parsons not made that tackle. You're a half game in first place, Dorn. A half game ahead of the Bears. And by the way, you still have to play us twice. So you may end up a game and a half behind the Bears if we sweep you. Not saying we're going to, but if we happen to do so please, Dorn, please.
So for me, the thing is, I don't look at the Packers as being Super Bowl favorites necessarily, but I don't think that they're not in the mix. Like, especially in the current NFC landscape, like the Eagles look vulnerable, right? Like they're not the dominant team that they were last year. The Bucks look really good, but they just lost to the Lions and they look human. Yep. The Lions, you know, they had their blowout moment against the Packers, but they've righted the ship and the Lions look good. But even in some of their games, like they just got blown out by Kansas City too, right? Like, so the NFC as a whole, it doesn't look like there are some good teams, but I don't see why the Packers can't be part of that mix in the NFC the way it is right now. You know? And it's kind of the same thing with the AFC. Like the AFC is wide open right now. Like the teams that like the Ravens that you expected to be good haven't been good. And then there's teams like the Colts who you didn't expect to be good who are sitting on top. Like, and it's still early in the season. So some of these teams could make a correction.
Joe, we're at the halfway part. We're at week 8.
Yeah.
We're basically at the halfway point. And here's the beautiful thing about the NFC North. Our worst team right now, our worst team in the NFC North
is 500. For another few hours.
Yeah, for another few hours. We'll see what happens tonight. I mean, the whole division's good. I mean, are the Packers in the mix? Most definitely they are in the mix. The Bears are in the mix. The Lions are in the mix. Even the Vikings are in the mix. All 4 teams are in the mix. Could we send 4 teams into the playoffs? I don't know. We'll see how the rest of the NFC shakes out. It's possible if the Vikings right their ship, so to speak, and if the Bears can keep winning, if the Lions can these teams keep winning, yeah, it's totally possible because the Commanders are on a 2-game spiral right now. Dallas is up and down. I mean, I don't know if the East sends a second team into the playoffs. If you look at the West could send 2 in for sure. The South, it looks like, really, unless Atlanta turns around and does something, they're sending a division champ, and that's it. So it's going to be close. It's going to be close. The next 5 weeks, yeah, we say, and then the next 3 weeks will separate, and then the next week. I mean, look at the Bears right now, for example, in the next 3 games, really, we need to go 2-1. Honestly, I think we need to go at least 2-1. If we sweep it out and keep this thing rolling, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, it's a beautiful thing about this game is John Dorn can sit there and tell me how bad we were the last 3 years, and none of that matters. None of that matters.
Yeah.
It's what's going on right now on the field today. And the NFC North, from top to bottom, is good. And going back to, as we started this on the quarterbacks, how the Packers should have won a lot more. But now you look at the Packers now, I think you're right to a degree. Jordan Love is answering that he is worth the money this year, which was, hey, we said that was one of the things the Packers had to find out. Is he worth the money? Yeah, he is. Now they're realizing, but we need a better receiving core. We need better weaponry for him. We got a pretty good tight end set duo. We got a good running back when healthy. The backup running back, maybe you might want to tweak that in the offseason if we possibly can. Maybe find something to draft and maybe bolster that. The defense, our front 7's pretty solid, but our secondary, we need a corner. We might need a good ball hawking safety. But you know what? They're not. It's not like they have a ton of questions. The Bears don't have a ton of questions. For the Bears, it's a matter of, okay, early on the passing game was going good, but the running game sucked. Now the running game is going good, but the passing game is out of sync. Can we sync it all up? Defensively, it's just, can we survive until JJ comes back with the backup corner? So far, the question is yes, because Dorn says, oh, well, you guys are only surviving on takeaways because the teams that win championships get lots of takeaways. So I'm not mad at the Bears are averaging over 3 takeaways a game. What's better than giving up 3? It's better than giving up 3 turnovers a game. I mean, so, and you look at the Lions, they've had some ups and downs, but they pretty much are who they are. I mean, look, everyone's gonna have a bad game, but the week 1 was just a bad game for them. They had a bad game against Kansas City. The fact that Kansas City also had 0 penalties calling them was kind of suspect, I will say. But they're a good team, and the Vikings really, they have the personnel. Their problem is tons of injuries on defense and a quarterback situation.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the worst of us right now at 3-3. And none of these teams have like these massive questions. They're all minor questions at this point.
I think the Vikings have a major question at quarterback.
Yeah, but I mean, right now they're in that they do and they don't, Joe. Let me explain that. I know where you're coming from, and I agree with you, but they don't because KOC's offense is such a he's plug and play with any quarterback. And as long as they're getting halfway decent quarterback play, they're relevant. If they were getting Johnny Manziel, Cleveland Brown quarterback play, yeah, but they're not. They're getting, or Jamarcus Russell play, they're getting decent enough quarterback play where they're in games. But it is good. That's a question that could blow up into a major question if JJ can't be healthy, and if the quarterback position starts costing them games. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't disagree. I think it's a bigger question than I think it's a big question. I think at this point, like JJ, we talked about it yesterday, if he gets hurt one more time this year, like I think the Vikings would be foolish to not be looking at quarterbacks in the first round. I just, I don't know, man. But yeah, it's there. The whole NFL right now is sort of wide open because we've had, for the last like 4 or 5 years, we've had the same teams in the playoffs, in the AFC Championship games, right? It's been the Bills, it's been the Chiefs, it's been the Eagles, it's been the Niners, right? But now it's like we're starting to make way for some other teams. So I kind of look at this year as being like the Super Bowl is on the table for a lot of teams this year. Like, and I wouldn't be surprised if a team that we wouldn't normally consider a Super Bowl team actually pulls it out this year just because we're seeing this sort of changing of the guard, right? I mean, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say like the Colts, but because I feel like the Colts, like they're playing good ball, but I just wonder how long they can keep it up.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. As we come into the season, remember, we're talking about certain teams. Like, if you would, we say, oh, the Bears will be 4-2 after playing 6 guys like Dorn would be like, oh, you can, they'll be 1-5. There's no way because look how bad they were last year. And that's the problem. People are stuck in what teams were last year. Mm-hmm. Dude, last year does not matter for shit. Because if it did, Baltimore would be on top of that division right now.
And the Colts wouldn't be 5-1 or 6-1, whatever.
The Colts wouldn't be the number 1 seed in the NFL right now. I mean, last year doesn't matter. I think it is wide open for a lot of teams. I mean, there's some teams that are what we thought they would be, like record-wise. But, record-wise, they are. Like, look, the Saints are where we thought they would be record-wise, but they're a much better team than we all thought they would be.
Arizona,
same thing. They're who it was. Arizona differently. A lot of us thought they'd be winning the division, but they're losing a lot of close games.
Yeah, that's one thing I was pointing out is like Arizona, I don't put them in the same category as the Saints, other than they're both really scrappy teams. Like they stay in games, but Arizona, I expected to be better record-wise than they are, but they're a good team. And I think they have a chance to play spoiler down the stretch.
Paul's comment, I mean, tell me if we don't say this every year. You ready? Paul's comment. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Paul's weird season.
Yeah.
Every season we say that.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Because think about it. As we all come into the season, right? As we come into the season, we base off the last season and we try to project for moves we've made. And then when it doesn't go as we all think it should go, man, what a weird season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dorn, I mean, if you want to go up, look at, I don't usually engage Dorn like this, but Dorn, if you really want to go up and down the roster and go man for man up and down the roster, your Packer roster is not the stellar thing compared to the Bears or the Lions or the Vikings. It just isn't. You need to admit it, John. The Bears are good this year. Just admit it. Just admit it,
They're looking
John.
good so far.
I mean, they're playing well so far. They're
playing
winning
well
games.
so far. They're winning games. That's all you can ask for.
And it doesn't matter if you win by 1 or by 30. A W is a W, and an L is an L. A tie is a tie.
But this season, I think, has been weird, even more weird than other seasons for a couple of reasons. Like, because you're seeing the changing of the guard, right? And so I think that the NFL, the whole NFL, usually it happens within one conference, but you're seeing it within both conferences, which is not something that you see a lot.
Well, you're seeing a power shift.
Yeah. And then another thing in the NFL, but usually you see it within one conference, right? Like you'll see like the NFC will have like all of a sudden there's a changing of the guard. But for both,
well, no, you're seeing a conference power shift. This happens from time to time. Like for a while, the NFC was widely dominant. Then for a run of years, the AFC was wildly dominant. Now you're seeing the power shift go back to the NFC from the AFC. So you're really seeing a double changing the guard. You're seeing a changing of guard within the conference, within the NFC, within the AFC, but then you're also seeing the changing of the power balance from the AFC to the NFC. So you're seeing both at the same time.
I agree. And Jim, I don't think the NFC, like, it's as you thought it would be. Maybe some of it. But it's, I mean, you look at teams like the Panthers being 500, nobody expected that, right? Like, and the Panthers being 500 at this point in the season, the playoffs are not off the table for them.
No, it's not.
And that, so to me, that's a changing of the guard, right? Like,
I like Brian.
So I just think that part's been weird. And then also the running backs have been weird this year because, like, Genty was highly touted, and Genty has, as quiet as it's kept, he's up there in rushing yards despite the fact that it's not translating to wins. But the best running back of this class so far has got to be Scatabo, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's Scatabo. I mean, well,
or Quinshon Judkins, but neither of those guys were like Quinshon was a second round pick, right?
Yeah,
but like the guys who were highly touted, like Genty, like Trevion Henderson, Omari and Hampton, none of those guys are really. Hampton's hurt.
Hampton was showing until he got hurt.
Right, but now he's on IR, and that's what I'm saying. Is like, so it's like, it's the running backs have surprised me too. Is all I'm saying. That, like, I didn't expect Scatabo to be like, the best running back in the class so far. And I said so far, like so far.
We're starting to see, and we're think about even Kyle Monangai. He had his first touchdown last week, but if you watch his progression this season, he's starting to show out as a young running back. I think he had 50, 60 yards last week. But Bears are starting to use him more as this running game is coming alive, and he may actually end up showing out better than some of these highly touted guys if he continues down the path he's on.
Well, we talked about him in the offseason, and we said that there was potential there. I mean, I'm not
definitely potential. I think he's pushing Roschon Johnson out of a job.
Yeah, there's definitely potential there. But you got guys like Pacheco is like starting to kind of, I guess, come back. Yeah, but see, Genty is kind of like where, I don't know. It's hard to say because, like, they don't run him enough. I think if they were giving him 20 carries a game, Genty would be on top of the league. Like, he's shown the talent, but it's been a weird season for him.
Well, no, Joe. I mean, look, here's the problem, and I think we can look at Swift as a case study. Swift the last two games, okay, in his career had 4 100-yard games coming into this year. He has 2 back-to-back now. The difference with running backs sometimes can be as simple as how good the offensive line is. I mean, that's just it. The Raiders' offensive line isn't doing enough for Genty for him to show out like he should. He can do, like, even last year, look at Swift. Didn't have an offensive line for shit, still racked up 950 yards, still broke a few long ones here and there, right? They'll have moments like, yeah, that's why we got the guy. But then we go, oh, but we're not seeing the consistency. He's a bum. No, the guy is doing this despite the lack of the support he needs to have to do what he needs to do, to perform at the level that we expect. The Bears, the last 2 weeks, the offensive line is now doing what it needs to do to make Swift have the capability to perform to where we expected him to perform. And he's done just that. I think you have the same thing with guys like Genty. You had the same thing with Amari and Hampton out there with the Chargers, because that O-line did not help, was hurt. They didn't have it. So, I mean, for running backs and receivers, when we call these guys busts and they go to another team, they're phenomenal. It's like, well, because now they've got the tools that they need to do what we wanted them to do for us. So quarterback is about the only thing where you have a little bit of a difference, because I turn to Jordan Love. The guy has a bum-ass receiving core compared to the rest of the division,
You're going to get blamed in the comments for that, Ken.
Look, though, compared to the Eagles, compared to the Vikings, compared to the Bears, compared to the rest of the division, there's not a single guy on that roster I would take over any of my wide receivers. And you know what? The Vikings would probably say the same thing. The Lions would probably say the same thing. The Eagles would probably say the same thing, right? But Jordan Love is still producing, despite the lack of a phenomenal receiving core. He's got a pretty decent receiving core. They're not world beaters. They're an average group of guys who Jordan Love makes a lot better. And you know why I can say that? Because every time a receiver who's not named Devontae Adams leaves and goes on our team, you never hear from them again. Why? Because their quarterbacks always made them better. If Romeo Doubs goes and plays for Carolina next year, well, you'll barely hear his name ever again. That's just the fact. If Christian Watson leaves and goes and plays for the Raiders, we'll never hear from him again. Right? Their quarterbacks made them better. And there's a history of that with Packer receivers. I mean, you get a Devontae Adams every now and then, right? Because even a clock is right. A broken clock is right twice a day. Like John's right about twice a day. But that's the rub on them. So Jordan Love is like, that's where you can say quarterbacks are the exception to that. But running backs, they have to have help. Receivers have to have at least a decent quarterback, because look at some of these really good receivers out in the league, and they don't have a quarterback that can deliver the ball to them. It doesn't matter how good he is. Look at the Jets. They have a great wide receiver. Isn't putting up jack for numbers. Look at the Bungles before Burrow, after Burrow, and before Flacco. That interim there, ghosts. Jamar Chase is still one of the best receivers on the planet, but he didn't have a quarterback who could give him the ball. So who cares how good he is? Who cares how good Tyreek Hill is when Tua can't get him the ball?
Yeah. But I think with the Raiders, it's an interesting case, though, because I don't disagree with you. The line has not done what they need to do to get him doing what we expect from him. But I also think it's coaching, because they just haven't given him the number of carries that he should be getting, dude. Like in that Kansas City game, he had 6 carries.
Hey, let me answer this for you.
He had 2 carries by the end of the first half, Ken. When the game was it was 21-0 at the end of the first half.
That's
2 carries, bro.
Yeah, they have the coaching needs to commit to the run. Let me answer this one for you, Joe, because Bill has asked this question 15 times, and I don't know why, because it's the same bullshit every year. No, they're not trading Max Crosby. Just stop. The rumors are going to be there every year, and every year it's the same thing. Mark Davis comes out and says, "There's no way in hell I'm trading Max." Max is like, "There's no way in hell I'll waive my no trade clause."
And then the next week, it's the rumors are swirling that Max is going to the Cowboys. It's like, no, he's not.
And okay. Corey, I think Broski, this would be a good one for you to chime in on Golden.
What's up, Broski?
That Golden might be good. You know what, though? Golden didn't have a good game last week. I think he's shown that he could be, but they haven't had any consistency out of Golden yet as producing. But he's a rookie, so I don't expect a lot. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, after week 1, I mean, have the Packers really looked that impressive in any given week? Like, not really. It's not that they're a bad team, but I mean, they're not setting the world on fire. I mean, come on, they played. Who was the starting quarterback for the Bengals when they played them? Who was the starting quarterback last week? You know what I mean? Jacoby Brissett. They played like Browning or something, and Jacoby Brissett, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. They lost to Joe Flacco and the Browns. Like, what are we really talking about, man? The doors are wide open this year for someone to step in. That being said, like
Brissett
you, like
was
Joe,
pretty good though. Brissett played pretty good last week, though. We got to give him that.
Oh, for sure. It's just amazing how he can have like a kind of rejuvenated career, like a lot of these veteran quarterbacks are doing this season when they get their chance to step in for an injured younger guy. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing with the league. Honestly, it just shows that it takes a while for these young quarterbacks to get up to speed. Really, you know what I mean. That being said, it's still like, you still have like the Eagles, you still have the Rams, you still have the Bucks, you still have the Lions. I mean, they're still going to be good teams this year. The Packers are a good team. So the door is open, but you still do have your kind of year in year outs perennial teams that are still going to be in the thick of it anyway.
So Fred, this is funny. I laughed when I read this. Golden has more yards from defensive PI than receiving, but you know what though? That's not a bad thing because that's a good thing actually. That's a value added thing for Golden. If you're able to create PI, yeah, you're not getting the receiving stats, but for your team, that's just as good as you catching the ball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we go, he should have caught that. Yeah, but he drew a flag. It's the same thing. Who cares? If he catches a ball or draws a flag, the end goal is the end product is the same thing. The ball at their 5-yard line, right? I mean, if the guy's draped all over and he would have caught it, been tackled right away, what's the difference of him catching it, being tackled right away, or the PI? There's no difference. So, Fred, that may be, that's, and I wish, I wish that the stats would capture some of that because that's if you think about it, guys, we look at receivers, we look at Golden and say, yeah, Golden doesn't have numbers. Like his receiving yards aren't there. He had, we'll see the targets. He only had 7 targets and 3 receptions. But what we don't see in the stat line is, but 2 of those targets resulted in 82 yards of pass interference yardage or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I wish we would see that because that is like one of those little hidden stats, and maybe maybe they're tracking that, but that's an interesting stat line there.
Yeah, anytime you can have a deep threat on the field, it's gonna pose some concerns for the defense, and they're gonna have to consider that when they game plan. But for the Packers, it's more like the difference between them this year and last year is Jordan Love is stepping it up, I feel, and they have Michael Parsons. I mean, that's essentially the difference between this year's Packer team and last year's.
With Golden though, like he's got potential. I wish we could see like how many PI yards he's drawn, because I think you should add that to the receiving yards. To be honest with you, to a certain degree, because that's like how many times have we seen this, Broski? Like DJ Moore might not have the yardage, but he drew 2 or 3 flags in a game that changed the outcome of a game.
Oh yeah, definitely. And they know they have to make sure they know where he is wherever he is on the field. So even if he's not getting the ball, it's it's going to affect the play somehow.
So what are you thinking? Because Bill has questions as usual. What do you think of Colston through the first few games here in the season?
I think he's just going to get worked in more and more as the season goes on. Like, anytime you're starting the season as a rookie coming off of major shoulder surgery and you have a tight end like Cole Kmet already, it's like, you know what? Yeah, you can take your time and ease him in, work him in, So I think that's what they're going to do. And I think you're going to see a lot more numbers from him the second half of the season.
Well, and the thing is, though, I think watching Kittle last week should be an eye-opener to people when they think of how tight ends, the numbers. Guess how many catches Kittle had last week for San Francisco?
I mean, I didn't even know he was back yet.
Joe, you have an idea of how many catches Kittle had in the win for San Francisco last week?
I'm going to guess 0.
0. But you know what his impact was?
Blocking.
Massive. Because of all the blocking he was doing for CMC and receivers. And you see that in the Bears. I always give Max say we don't use them in the offense enough. We're not throwing them enough. But you know what? Start watching them more closely, and you start seeing how much blocking these two are doing, Colston and Kmet. How many guys they break free. Look at these Swift runs. How many times on a Swift run, there was a Swift run last week that was a nice little 15, 16-yard scamper. Cole Kmet was the guy who sealed the edge, right? So when you talk about, well, are you happy with their numbers and their performance? I think we need to stop thinking just straight up Gronk, Aaron Hernandez catching numbers, right? There's that aspect of it. And some tight ends you use like that. Fine. But then there's the other piece of it. Like you get these tight ends, and both these guys for the Bears are doing it. They are blocking their asses off, and they are creating opportunities for receivers and tight ends and the quarterback that is just as good as a 5-yard catch in the flat or better. So as far as Colston, receiving wise, he's had some nice catches. So has Kmet. Blocking wise, I haven't seen too many plays where they were the reason why the guy got through and blew something up. So I'm happy with both of them right now. That being said, would I like to see them used more as passing threats too? Well, I think we all would. We all want our tight ends to be seen as passing threats. But I think both are doing admirable jobs doing all that dirty work that doesn't get the love.
Yeah, no, I hear that. And you know, that's, in my opinion, the biggest receiving threat on the Packers is Kraft. You know, he might be their best receiving target overall. But I did hear you guys talking about the Panthers a little bit earlier. And I was just going to add one thing really quick. We're going to find out a lot about the Panthers the next 2 weeks because they are playing the Bills coming off a bye week. The Bills coming off a bye week this week, and then they're playing at Green Bay. So, you know, the Panthers have been, you know, they've been beating up on some crappy teams. Bryce Young still looked terrible. He's going to be out for a few weeks, so Andy Dalton's going to be stepping in for him. We'll see. We'll see. Like I said, next couple of weeks are going to tell us a lot about the Panthers.
The Bills. I mean, I think the Bills are 8-0 coming off a bye under McDermott, and they just came off back-to-back losses. That's gonna. I don't even think that's a close game. And hopefully for my fantasy team's sake, it's a big Josh Allen day. The Packers game will be interesting to see how their defensive or their offensive line holds up against the Packers defensive line. Look at the Packers defensive line since Micah Parsons. I mean, everyone's benefiting from Micah Parsons. That line is really good. Oh, yeah. But they haven't played a top 10 offensive line yet, I don't think. So when they start, you know, I mean, they'll still be effective like against a team like the Bears, who right now I think are ranked 2 or 3 in the league for offensive pass protection. They're going to get their plays, but the Packers, it's their secondary. Dalton's a capable. Yeah, Corey, we know Dalton. We all know Dalton's capable at times. Let's quantify that. At times, he shows he's capable. It just depends on what side of the bed he got up on him.
Yeah, exactly. At one point in his career, he was capable at times. We'll see how he is now.
Now he's hit or miss. I mean, like that'll be interesting. I think the Packers should beat them, to be honest with you, because I don't think that offensive line is going to contain the front seven. But for the Packers, it still comes down to their offense. It's like, you know, if Kraft gets hurt, God forbid, I don't know how, you know, that's Jordan Love's safety valve, which he goes to a lot. Dobbs is, I mean, you can't miss Dobbs with that big ass helmet floating around, but like the rest of the receiving core hasn't shown up yet. Dobbs is the only one who really has shown up. Golden's shown some signs, the PI thing notwithstanding. I wish I knew how many yards he had. But that's going to be a good game. You're right. That's going to be a very interesting game. And then, of course, when we get into division games, that's going to be interesting for all our teams to kind of see where we are. Look, the NFC North is an interesting division right now. We're probably the best division record-wise. We've answered a lot of our questions, but we still have some minor questions, like for the Bears. Can the Bears put the passing game and the run game together at the same time? They haven't done that yet. It's been one or the other, right? For the Packers,
yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say it would be great to see. Like, you know, Caleb's been just so inaccurate this season. It's honestly kind of disturbing. So let's see a game where the entire offense clicks. You know what I mean? That's what we have to look for and hope for going forward.
Well, I wouldn't say he's been inaccurate all season. He's had flashes of accuracy and flashes of inaccuracy. He's been inconsistent.
As of late, he's been very, very inaccurate.
The last 2 games, yeah, because like this year, right now, he's throwing at 57.7%, 61.7 rating. The last 2 games really sunk him, right?
Yeah.
He was at 6. His rating for against NOLA was 61.7. Washington was a 98.6. Vegas was a 73. Dallas a 142. Detroit a 91. So the last couple, the last 3 games. Well, the 98 against Washington wasn't bad. The last game was bad, but They've been out of sync. So for the Bears, can they get their offense, their passing game synced? And hopefully, you know, and look at, you expect a little bit of this unsynced stuff through the new head coach, new offensive system, you know, new this, that, and the other. But you're right. You know, if Caleb can get consistent, if the passing game can get online with the running game, and this defense keeps getting better and better, the Bears are going to be a very dangerous team. The Lions already are a very dangerous team. The Packers can be a very dangerous team with their defense. If they can get Golden going consistently, they're going to be a dangerous team. If they can figure out the quarterback situation in Minnesota, they're going to be a dangerous team. And they got to get healthy on the defense.
I think Green Bay actually, I mean, yeah, they need Golden to get going, but that's a team that goes as far as Josh Jacobs takes them, in my opinion. Like, Josh Jacobs is the tone setter on that team. Like, at least for the offense, like they run him a lot and they really depend on him a lot. And he's a good running back. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's a really good
little
back.
banged up right now. Right,
but that's what I'm saying is, like, he's already banged up, and they're not, like, who are they going to put in if Jacobs can't go? Who are they going to run? Is it Marshawn Lloyd? Is their backup?
Yes,
yeah, and I don't know if who knows if he's even healthy. That guy spends his life injured, so
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a good point, Joe. I mean, they really are. Like,
Josh Jacobs takes them, dude.
Yeah, Jacobs to me doesn't look like the same player so far this season, but he does start seasons slow, it seems like, but you know, over the years. But yeah, man, I mean, if Josh Jacobs isn't Josh Jacobs of last season, that's a huge problem for them.
Well, you know, funny, Broski, that you say this, because, you know, one of the rubs we had on him when Green Bay got him is his injury issues they had in Vegas, and Packer fans were like, okay, and last year was really good, but the fact that he's not producing right now, and Jordan Love has upped his game, I think has really kind of averaged that out a little bit. But longer term, as you're getting into a playoff push, if Jacobs is not healthy and continues playing like he is now, where they're not getting great play out of him, that's going to be problematic for the Packers. Like, they need to get him healthy. They need to get him involved, and he needs to stay healthy for them to have even a shot at making a Super Bowl run. Because I think if they don't have Josh Jacobs healthy in the playoffs, they're done.
Yeah, but I wasn't actually going from the negative with that take. I was like, you know, it works both ways, right? They're going to go as far as Josh Jacobs takes him. So if Jacobs, he's banged up right now, if he continues to be banged up and he's not able to be his 100% self, then yeah, the team is gonna fall with him. But if he can get healthy and he can be himself, like, he could take that team really far. Like, you know, a good running game and a good defense translates in the playoffs, dude. And
they can win
my question about Jacobs right now is, like, Jacobs has a lot of knowledge on him, dude. Like, the Raiders, they used him a lot. Green Bay uses him a lot. He's like probably like 20. How old is he now? He's got to be close to 28.
Well, I mean, that's
which in running back years is like 150.
But that's where Jordan Love becomes more important, and the fact that Jordan Love is stepping more into that role that question, he's answering that question of, is he worth the money? I think that mitigates some of that, where they shouldn't have to use him as much. Okay, and look at Fred says you can't win on the arm of love, but I think they can win a game or two on the arm of love. So that, look, they could get in the playoffs and they might be able to win a playoff game on Love's arm, but I don't think they could go through the Super Bowl on just Love's arm. They could win. They might be able to win a game or two on just Love's arm, but they have to have Josh Jacobs involved in order to win it all.
Yeah, for sure.
So on that wonderful take, guys, enjoy football tonight. Should be a very good game tonight. The Bolts are getting a little healthy. Should be a fun game to watch with the Bolts and the Vikings. We'll be talking about tomorrow, and we'll be previewing this weekend's game. So yes, we will talk Packers Steelers. We will talk Bears Ravens. So everyone, enjoy the game tonight. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you all back here tomorrow. Have a good one, everyone.